in the quiet town of Pallet, where the days were as predictable as the chirping of Pidgeys at dawn, there existed a secret so dark it could make even the bravest trainer's blood run cold. This is not the story you remember from your childhood cartoons. This is something else. It began with Ash Ketchum. Yes, but this Ash was older now, wiser perhaps, yet haunted by dreams that felt more like memories. Memories of places he'd never been and creatures far darker than any Pokemon he'd ever faced. In these dreams, Ash found himself standing before an ancient tree deep within the Viridian Forest. The air around it was heavy, oppressive, as if the very atmosphere recoiled from its presence. And beneath the roots of this tree lay a shadow, a living, breathing entity that whispered promises of power to anyone foolish enough to listen. One fateful night, while traversing Route 25 under a moonless sky, Ash stumbled upon something he couldn't explain. A pokeball unlike any other. It wasn't red and white. Instead, it pulsed with an eerie black light, almost as though it were alive. Curiosity, or was it destiny, compelled him to pick it up. As soon as his fingers brushed against its surface, a chill ran through him, deeper than ice, colder than death itself. Inside the ball was no ordinary Pokemon. There was no Charmander or Bulbasaur waiting to burst forth into battle. What emerged was a creature born from nightmares, a being that defied logic and reason. Its eyes glowed with malevolent intelligence, and its voice, oh, how it spoke directly to Ash's soul, weaving tales of despair and corruption. The townsfolk began to notice changes in Ash. He became distant, obsessed with uncovering the truth about the mysterious Pokeball. But every time he tried to share what he had seen, they dismissed him as tired or stressed. "You're just imagining things," they said. Yet whispers spread among them anyway. Whispers of disappearances, of trainers who wandered too close to the old forest and were never heard from again. As Ash delved deeper into the mystery, he discovered that the shadowy creature wasn't alone. Others like it existed, trapped in forgotten corners of the world, biding their time until someone weak-willed enough came along to set them free. These entities fed on fear, growing stronger with each scream, each tear shed by those unfortunate enough to cross their path. And then came the day when Ash realized a horrifying truth. The creature inside the Pokeball wasn't just some alien monster. It was once human. Long ago, a trainer desperate for victory had made a deal with forces beyond comprehension, trading their humanity for ultimate power. Now, all that remained was a hollow shell, a twisted parody of life, forever bound to the Pokeball. Desperate to undo the damage, Ash sought out Professor Oak, hoping the wise old man might have answers. But even Oak was shaken by what Ash revealed. "This goes beyond Pokemon," the professor admitted grimly. "We're dealing with something ancient, something we can barely comprehend." Together, they hatched a plan to seal the creature away once and for all, using a combination of ancient artifacts and modern technology. But the ritual required sacrifice. A piece of Ash's own spirit would be needed to complete the binding. Reluctantly, knowing it might cost him everything, Ash agreed. On the night of the full moon, surrounded by flickering candles and chanting voices, Ash confronted the shadow one final time. The battle was brutal, both physically and mentally, as the creature unleashed wave after wave of terror designed to break Ash's resolve. But somehow, through sheer willpower and the love of his friends, both human and Pokemon, Ash held firm. When it was over, the shadow was gone, sealed away in a dimension where it could harm no one ever again. But Ash was changed. He carried the weight of what he had seen, the knowledge of horrors hidden just beneath the surface of the world he loved. And though he continued his journey, training new Pokemon and facing new challenges, there was always a part of him that wondered what else lurked in the shadows, waiting for its chance to strike. Chapter 2. The Whispering Forest. After sealing away the shadow creature, Ash thought his ordeal was over. But peace never lasts long when you've glimpsed the edge of darkness. 1 week after the ritual, Ash returned to Viridian Forest for answers. Something about the ancient tree, the one from his dreams, called to him like a siren song. Pikachu clung tightly to his shoulder as they ventured deeper into the woods than anyone had dared go before. The air grew colder with every step, and an unsettling silence enveloped them, broken only by the rustling leaves above. As they approached the massive tree, its gnarled roots twisted upward like skeletal fingers reaching for the heavens. At its base, Ash noticed something he hadn't seen before, a small wooden box half buried in the soil. With trembling hands, he dug it out. Inside lay a journal, yellowed with age but remarkably well preserved. The first entry read, "Day 1, I sought power. They promised me greatness if I would only give them my soul. How foolish I was to believe such lies." Each subsequent page chronicled the descent of a trainer named Elias, whose ambition led him to strike a bargain with the shadow creatures. In exchange for unparalleled strength, Elias surrendered his humanity, becoming the very monster he once hunted. By the final entry, Elias' handwriting had become erratic, almost illegible. It feeds on fear. It grows stronger with every scream. If anyone finds this run, do not let it escape. Ash closed the journal, his heart pounding. He realized then that Elias wasn't just some distant figure from history. He was the original owner of the cursed Pokeball. And somehow, Ash had unknowingly set free what Elias had failed to destroy. Suddenly, the forest around them shifted. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, coiling like serpents at their feet. Whispers filled the air, voices speaking in languages Ash didn't recognize. Then came the sound, a low, guttural growl emanating from behind the tree. Out stepped another shadow creature, larger and more menacing than the one Ash had faced earlier. Its form was indistinct, constantly shifting between shapes, but its eyes burned with hatred. "This is no ordinary Pokemon," Pikachu whispered, electricity crackling along his cheeks. "We need help," but help was far away, and time was running out. Chapter 3, Allies in Darkness. Desperate, Ash remembered Professor Oak's words. To defeat these creatures, we must unite. He sent out a desperate call via his communicator, summoning Brock, Misty, and even Gary Oak, who had surprisingly developed a sense of camaraderie after years of rivalry, to join forces against the growing threat. When they arrived, the group listened intently as Ash recounted everything: the cursed Pokeball, the journal, and the terrifying encounter in the forest. Though skeptical at first, their doubts vanished when the shadow creature reappeared, hovering ominously overhead. "We can't fight this alone," Ash admitted. "We need all our Pokemon, and maybe something more." Professor Oak suggested seeking aid from the legendary protectors of the regions, Mutwo, Lugia, and Zekrom. These powerful beings might have the strength needed to banish the shadows forever. But finding them wouldn't be easy. Legend spoke of trials and riddles guarding their sanctuaries. Splitting up, each member of the team embarked on a perilous quest. Brock journeyed to Johto to seek Lugia. Misty traveled to Unova for Zekrom, while Ash and Pikachu ventured to Kanto to confront Mutwo. Along the way, they encountered remnants of other trainers who had fallen victim to the shadows, ghostly apparitions warning them of the danger ahead. Chapter 4, The Final Confrontation. Reuniting at the base of the ancient tree, the group stood united, surrounded by their most trusted Pokemon. Above them floated the shadow creature, now fully formed and radiating malevolent energy. Behind it loomed three colossal figures: Mutwo, Lugia, and Zekrom, summoned by the sheer desperation of the trainers below. "This ends now," Ash declared, gripping Pikachu's tiny paw. With a roar that shook the earth, the battle began. The shadow creature unleashed waves of dark energy, forcing the group to scatter. Pikachu fought valiantly, his electric attacks lighting up the night sky. Meanwhile, the legendaries engaged in a cosmic dance of light and shadow, their powers colliding in dazzling displays of raw force. But the shadow creature adapted, learning from each attack and growing stronger with every blow. Just when hope seemed lost, Ash remembered the ritual used to seal the first shadow. Gathering everyone's strength, he performed the incantation again, channeling their combined willpower into a single beam of light. For a moment, there was silence. Then, with a deafening scream, the shadow creature disintegrated, pulled back into the void from which it came. Epilogue. Echoes of fear. Though victorious, the group remained haunted by the experience. The ancient tree still stood, its roots whispering secrets to those brave or foolish enough to listen. Ash kept the journal safe, vowing to uncover more about the origins of the shadow creatures and ensure they could never return. And so, the journey continued, not just for glory or adventure, but for survival. For in the world of Pokémon, some battles are fought not with courage alone, but with knowledge, unity, and an unyielding determination to face the unknown. Subplot 1. Brock's struggle with doubt. While traveling to Johto to summon Lugia, Brock faces his own inner demons. His journey isn't just about finding a legendary Pokémon. It's also about confronting his insecurities as a trainer and a person. Brock has always been the supportive friend, the rock for Ash and Misty, but deep down, he harbors feelings of inadequacy. Unlike Ash, who dreams of becoming the Pokémon champion, or Misty, who strives to become the best water-type trainer, Brock never felt like he had a clear goal. This lack of direction weighs heavily on him during his solo quest. In the ruins near Whirl Islands, where Lugia resides, Brock encounters a mysterious trainer named Kale. Kale is charismatic and seemingly invincible, boasting an impressive team of powerful Pokémon. At first, Brock idolizes Kale, seeing in him everything he wishes he could be. But soon, Kale reveals his true nature. He's one of the shadow creature's puppets, corrupted by its promises of power. Kale challenges Brock to a battle, using twisted versions of familiar Pokémon that echo Brock's fears. A golem made of crumbling stone, a Vulpix whose flames burn with despair. Though initially overwhelmed, Brock taps into his resolve, remembering why he became a trainer in the first place: to protect others and provide stability in times of chaos. With the help of his trusty Geodude and Onix, Brock defeats Kale, breaking the shadow creature's hold over him. In doing so, he discovers a renewed sense of purpose: to use his skills as a breeder and strategist to support not just Ash and Misty, but all trainers facing the darkness. Subplot 2. Misty's connection to water. Misty's journey to Unova to summon Zekrom takes her through the region's vast oceans and rivers, places where water flows freely and life thrives. Along the way, she begins to notice strange phenomena: fish behaving erratically, whirlpools forming without explanation, and eerie silhouettes moving beneath the waves. Her instincts tell her that the shadow creatures aren't confined to land. They've infiltrated the waters too. Determined to uncover the truth, Misty dives deeper, literally and figuratively, into the mystery, meeting a reclusive researcher named Dr. Marina. Dr. Marina studies ancient aquatic legends, including tales of a shadow leviathan, a colossal sea-dwelling entity said to devour entire fleets of ships. Together, Misty and Dr. Marina investigate sunken ruins off the coast of Castelia City. There, they discover carvings depicting battles between humans, Pokémon, and shadowy figures. The carvings hint at a forgotten war fought long ago, one that humanity barely won. As they explore, Misty feels a strange connection to the ruins, as though the spirits of past warriors are calling to her. She realizes that her bond with water isn't just a talent. It's a legacy passed down through generations of Cerulean gym leaders. Armed with this newfound understanding, Misty summons Zekrom, channeling the energy of the ocean itself to awaken the legendary dragon. Subplot 3. Gary's redemption arc. Gary Oak's subplot focuses on redemption and acceptance. Once Ash's rival, Gary now finds himself questioning his motivations. Why did he pursue Pokémon training? Was it truly for love of the creatures, or merely to prove himself superior? During his search for Mutwo, Gary visits New Island, the site of Mutwo's creation. As he explores the abandoned laboratory, he reflects on his childhood rivalry with Ash. He recalls moments when his pride blinded him, causing unnecessary conflict. Now, faced with a greater threat than either of them ever imagined, Gary must decide whether to continue chasing personal glory or work alongside Ash to save the world. At the heart of the lab, Gary encounters Mutwo, who is initially hostile due to mistrust of humans. However, Gary manages to earn Mutwo's respect by acknowledging his flaws and offering an honest apology for his past actions. Together, they forge a fragile alliance, united by their shared desire to protect the innocent from the shadow creatures. Through this experience, Gary learns humility and the value of teamwork. By the time he reunites with Ash, he's no longer a rival but a trusted ally, ready to stand shoulder to shoulder against the encroaching darkness. New region, Kalos, the Cradle of Shadows. After defeating the primary shadow creature, Ash and his friends believe the danger has passed. However, reports of disappearances begin trickling in from Kalos, a region known for its beauty and mythology. The group decides to investigate, suspecting that the shadow creatures may have spread farther than anyone realized. In Kalos, they meet Clemon and Bonnie, siblings who reveal that strange occurrences have plagued the region for months. Trainers vanish without a trace, and Pokémon behave erratically, as though possessed. The culprit appears to be a massive shadow lurking beneath Mount Coronet, feeding on the psychic energies of nearby towns. To combat this new threat, Ash and his friends seek the aid of Xerneas and Yveltal, legendary Pokémon tied to life and death. Their journey leads them through dense forests, treacherous caves, and haunted ruins, testing their courage and resolve at every turn. Ultimately, they discover that the shadow under Mount Coronet is connected to the original creature Ash defeated. It's not just one entity. They're part of a network, a collective consciousness bent on consuming all life. To stop them, Ash and his allies must perform a final ritual, combining the powers of all the legendaries they've encountered thus far. Climactic battle, the apex of darkness. The final showdown takes place atop Mount Coronet, where the shadow creatures converge in a terrifying display of power. The air crackles with dark energy, and the sky turns blood red. Ash and his friends stand united, surrounded by their Pokémon and the legendary beings they've summoned. The battle is grueling, pushing everyone to their limits. Pikachu fights valiantly, drawing strength from Ash's unwavering belief in him. Brock uses his strategic mind to outmaneuver the shadows, while Misty harnesses the power of the seas. Gary channels his newfound humility, working seamlessly with Ash despite their history. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, the combined efforts of the group succeed. The shadow creatures scream in agony as they're pulled back into the void, their essence sealed away forever, or so it seems. Final epilogue. A world still watching. Though victorious, Ash and his friends know the battle isn't truly over. The journal Elias left behind hints at other dimensions, other worlds where the shadows may still thrive. As they return to Pallet Town, they vow to remain vigilant, prepared to face whatever comes next. And somewhere, deep within the Viridian Forest, the ancient tree continues to whisper, waiting for the day when someone else might hear its call.